Earth had been at peace for nearly a century. Technological advances, cleaner energy, and the unification of global powers had allowed humanity to prosper. But that peace was not shared by everyone in the galaxy. Far beyond the stars, an empire had watched Earth's progress with a mix of disdain and intrigue. The Galactic Empire, spanning hundreds of worlds, considered itself the peak of civilization. To them, Earth was an untapped resource, a primitive backwater inhabited by creatures far beneath their notice. Their dominance over countless species had made them arrogant, and they viewed Earth as nothing more than another conquest. The decision was swift. The Empire wouldn't waste time with negotiations or diplomacy. They had a more efficient method, an extermination force made up of the galaxy's deadliest bioengineered predators. These creatures had been designed for one purpose: to wipe out native populations and clear planets for colonization. The humans, they reasoned, wouldn't stand a chance. On the outskirts of the Milky Way, a massive warship hummed silently as it hovered above the unassuming blue planet. Hidden by advanced cloaking technology, it went unnoticed by the humans below. Inside the ship, Empire officials observed holographic displays of Earth's surface, pinpointing strategic areas to release their predators. The lead commander, an imposing figure wrapped in gleaming armor, tapped his clawed fingers impatiently. "Begin the drop," he ordered. Within minutes, pods filled with alien predators began descending through Earth's atmosphere. Each pod contained a monstrous creature engineered for precision hunting. They landed quietly, scattered across forests, deserts, mountains, and even cities, as they began their mission to tear through Earth's fragile ecosystems. Humans were oblivious at first. The world carried on, unaware of the nightmare that had arrived. In the dense forests of the Amazon, one of the pods cracked open, releasing a predator that stood over 8 feet tall. Its skin shimmered in the dim light, camouflaging it seamlessly with the jungle surroundings. Its claws, sharp as any human-made blade, extended with a sickening sound as it moved forward, its eyes scanning for prey. It didn't take long for it to find its first target. A group of researchers, oblivious to the danger, went about their studies deep in the forest. Before they could react, the predator struck with blinding speed. By the time anyone realized what had happened, all that was left were scattered remnants of their equipment. The predator moved on, continuing its silent assault. Elsewhere, in the plains of Africa, another predator emerged from its pod. This one was leaner, designed for endurance rather than brute force. It raced across the savanna, covering miles in minutes, its jaws snapping at anything unfortunate enough to cross its path. A pride of lions, once the apex of their territory, barely had time to register the threat before it was upon them. The savanna's king was dethroned in seconds. Reports of strange deaths and disappearances began to trickle in, but authorities dismissed them as isolated incidents. That changed when a predator was caught on camera during an attack in the heart of a city. Panic set in as the footage went viral, showing a creature tearing through cars and buildings with terrifying ease. The government scrambled to respond, but by then, the predators had already spread across the globe, adapting to every environment with horrifying efficiency. It was a slaughter. In the first week, thousands of people vanished, leaving only bloodstains and devastation in their wake. Military forces attempted to intervene, but bullets barely slowed the creatures. Bombs left only craters, and advanced weaponry that had never been tested in real combat proved ineffective. The world's most fortified cities fell within hours, and it became clear that these weren't random animals. They were something far more dangerous. In a secret military base, high-ranking officials watched as global news coverage documented the ongoing destruction. Satellite images showed the predators moving in coordinated patterns, suggesting an intelligence far beyond any earthly creature. "How do we fight something like this?" a general asked, his voice tinged with desperation. No one had an answer. The predators were too fast, too strong, and too numerous. Earth's mightiest militaries were being outmatched by creatures that seemed unstoppable. As chaos spread, humans began to adapt in their own way. Some fled to remote areas, hoping to avoid detection. Others fortified their homes, creating makeshift bunkers and armed themselves with whatever weapons they could find. But for most, survival was a matter of time. In the midst of this growing fear, the Galactic Empire watched from afar, confident in their success. The predators they had sent were the finest in their arsenal, and no planet had ever survived their onslaught. Earth, they believed, would soon fall into line like all the others. But Earth was unlike the others. Humanity had faced extinction before, plagues, wars, natural disasters, and had always found a way to survive. Beneath the fear, beneath the chaos, there was a fire that the Empire had not accounted for, the human will to fight back. And as the predators continued their rampage, that fire began to burn brighter. In the ruins of one city, a group of survivors gathered. They had seen the footage, heard the reports, and knew what was coming. But they weren't just going to sit and wait to be hunted. Among them were scientists, soldiers, and civilians who had lost everything. They had weapons, and more importantly, they had a plan. The predators might have been engineered to hunt, but humans had evolved to survive. One by one, the survivors armed themselves. They had no illusions about the danger they faced, but they weren't about to let their world be taken without a fight. In the distance, the ground trembled as a predator approached, its silhouette towering over the landscape. The first wave of devastation caused by the alien predators left the world reeling. The sheer speed and efficiency with which the creatures had ravaged humanity sparked a global response. Governments and militaries had no choice but to regroup, study the creatures, and find ways to counteract the threat. What became clear, almost immediately, was that brute force alone wasn't going to win this fight. The alien predators were faster, stronger, and more durable than anything Earth had ever encountered. Yet, in the midst of despair, something interesting began to happen. Humanity started to adapt. Early encounters had been marked by panic, but soon, those on the ground began to fight back in unexpected ways. In the remote areas of the world, nature itself began to rise against the alien intruders. Where once humans had considered themselves the dominant species, they quickly realized they were not alone in this fight. In the dense jungles, lions, tigers, and other apex predators found themselves face to face with the alien invaders. These encounters weren't one-sided. Humanity's natural apex predators had long been sharpened by millions of years of evolution. While the alien predators were bioengineered to dominate, Earth's creatures were no strangers to combat for survival. Reports began to surface of lions in Africa banding together to take down an alien predator that had strayed into their territory. The same happened with wolves in the forests of Europe, packs coordinating their attacks with ruthless precision. In the oceans, sharks tore through the strange invaders with raw, primal power. These moments became turning points, a signal to humanity that perhaps they weren't as outmatched as they initially thought. As word spread of these natural victories, humans began to incorporate these successes into their strategies. Military leaders realized that Earth's native predators had an advantage. They knew their environments inside and out, and they fought with a ferocity that couldn't be programmed into any alien predator. It wasn't long before humans and their apex allies began to work in tandem. In the wilderness, human survivalists and military experts used the natural landscape to their advantage, setting traps and baiting the alien predators into ambushes. In many cases, these ambushes weren't carried out solely by humans, but with the help of the apex predators that shared their environment. One such example occurred in the snowy regions of the Arctic. A squad of special forces had been tracking an alien predator that had decimated a remote research outpost. They knew they couldn't rely on their weapons alone, as earlier attempts had proven largely ineffective. Instead, they used the environment to their advantage, driving the predator into a frozen wasteland where it would have limited mobility. The soldiers then lured the creature into a confrontation with a pack of polar bears, animals that had evolved to thrive in the harshest of conditions. The alien predator, for all its advanced design, was no match for the combination of human tactics and nature's raw power. But it wasn't just Earth's natural predators that proved effective. Humanity, after all, had long since considered itself the apex predator on this planet. While Earth's animals fought alongside humans in some places, in others, it was human ingenuity and adaptability that began to turn the tide. Humans had spent centuries developing their own tools for survival, technology, weaponry, and strategy. At first, it seemed like nothing humanity had built could stand up to the alien threat. Guns, bombs, and artillery had failed to do much more than slow the creatures down. However, in the face of overwhelming odds, human creativity surged to the forefront. Engineers and scientists worked around the clock to develop new weapons that could exploit the alien predators' weaknesses. Heat-based weapons were deployed to counteract the creatures' cold-blooded biology. Sonic emitters were designed to disrupt their communication and movement. These new technologies were far from perfect, but they gave humans the edge they desperately needed. In addition to new technology, humans adapted their tactics. The predators, for all their power, were hunters. They relied on instinct and brute force to achieve their goals. Humans, however, were capable of much more than that. Soldiers trained in guerrilla warfare began using unconventional strategies to outsmart the alien predators. They set traps, used decoys, and employed hit-and-run tactics to wear down the creatures. While the predators might have been stronger on an individual level, humans fought with intelligence, coordination, and resourcefulness. They exploited the alien creatures' lack of experience in Earth's varied environments, luring them into terrains where they were disadvantaged. At the same time, collaboration became key. Military forces from around the world pooled their knowledge and resources, sharing information on the predators' strengths and weaknesses. In a surprising show of unity, nations put aside their differences to fight the common threat. The military might of humanity was now working as a cohesive unit, something the Galactic Empire had not anticipated. Together, they created new strategies, combining both nature's power and human ingenuity in a way that evened the odds. Across the globe, the battle raged on. In some areas, humans and their natural predators had already begun to push back the alien threat. Wolves in the forests, tigers in the jungles, eagles in the skies, and humans in the cities, all fighting together in a coordinated effort to survive. Each victory, no matter how small, gave humanity renewed hope and determination. It wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about defending their planet from a force that had underestimated them. In the cities, where nature's apex predators were scarce, humans unleashed their own version of an apex predator: combat drones, advanced robotics, and mechanized exoskeletons that enhanced human abilities. These machines weren't designed to replace humans but to augment their capabilities, allowing soldiers to face the alien predators on more equal footing. The drones were quick, agile, and capable of outmaneuvering the creatures in urban environments where the alien predators struggled to adapt to the complex architecture and crowded spaces. The war between Earth's defenders and the Galactic Empire's predators was no longer a one-sided slaughter. Humanity, working with nature and technology, had begun to reclaim its place as the dominant force on the planet. While the alien invaders had come expecting an easy victory, they now found themselves locked in a battle that was anything but simple. The predators that had been sent to conquer Earth were meeting resistance on all fronts. Nature itself was rising up against them, and humans were proving to be more resilient than the Galactic Empire could have imagined. What had once been a desperate fight for survival had now transformed into a coordinated, strategic counterattack. Humanity had evolved to face threats before, and now they were evolving once again, unleashing every tool, every strategy, and every ounce of strength they had to fight back against the alien invaders. As the battle on Earth intensified, something unexpected began happening within the Galactic Empire. Reports of failure, once thought impossible, started to filter through the ranks. The initial confidence in their plan was fading as more data came in. The alien predators, sent to make quick work of the human population, were being killed. What was initially dismissed as isolated incidents was now becoming a disturbing pattern. The Empire's leadership gathered in their grand chambers, disbelief etched on their faces as the reports continued to pile up. "How could this be happening?" one of the commanders snarled, slamming his fist on the table. "These creatures were engineered to be the ultimate predators. What could these primitive humans possibly be doing?" They underestimated Earth, and they underestimated humanity's will to survive. They couldn't understand how humans were fighting back with such ferocity, nor could they comprehend how Earth's natural predators had risen to the challenge. To the Galactic Empire, this was a minor planet, a place with a primitive species that shouldn't have posed a threat. But the humans were proving them wrong. The High Council debated fiercely, their arrogance still evident, but a growing sense of fear had crept into the conversation. They had believed their technology and creatures would wipe out any resistance in a matter of days. Weeks had passed, and not only was the human population still fighting, but they were also winning key battles. One of the Empire's most senior officials, a tactician known for his cold logic, reviewed the latest footage from Earth with a furrowed brow. The humans were not just surviving, they were learning. With each attack, they adapted faster than the predators could adjust. They were setting traps, utilizing advanced technologies, and coordinating with one another in ways that outmaneuvered the bioengineered creatures. And then there was the matter of Earth's natural predators. The official watched in fascination as footage showed a pride of lions taking down one of the alien beasts in the African savanna. These creatures, though not as advanced as the Empire's, had an edge, instinct honed by millennia of evolution, something even the most advanced bioengineering couldn't replicate. "There's more to this than we anticipated," the official murmured, as he watched another video of a human special forces team working in sync with wolves to corner and eliminate an alien predator in the forests of Eastern Europe. "They've adapted, faster than expected." Back on Earth, that adaptation was happening everywhere. Human scientists and military experts had managed to reverse engineer some of the technology from the crashed alien pods. What they discovered gave them hope. The predators, despite their biological advantages, had specific weaknesses. Their armor-like skin had gaps at the joints, vulnerable to high-velocity weapons and blades. Their heightened senses could be overloaded with certain frequencies. And most critically, the predators weren't immune to Earth's bacteria and viruses. It was a small edge, but it was enough for humanity to exploit. The Empire, realizing that the predators alone wouldn't be enough to crush humanity, began to escalate their response. They sent in more advanced versions of the creatures, larger, faster, deadlier. But with every new wave, humanity fought harder. Military units around the globe began working together with a level of coordination that surprised even their own leaders. Communication networks were established, allowing different regions to share intelligence and strategies in real time. Scientists across the globe shared discoveries, improving their weapons and defenses at a staggering pace. In some cities, the alien predators had pushed humanity to the brink, but the human spirit was far from broken. Each attack became a test of will, and humans began to see themselves not as victims, but as soldiers in a war they could win. Entire neighborhoods fortified themselves, creating strongholds where the alien creatures couldn't easily penetrate. Urban guerrilla warfare tactics were employed, using the alien predators' size and strength against them in tight, confined spaces. From the highest levels of government to the smallest local communities, humanity began to unify in a way that had never been seen before. The Galactic Empire watched all of this unfold with growing alarm. They had never faced a species like this. The humans were relentless, refusing to bow to a superior force. Where other civilizations had crumbled under the might of the predators, the humans grew stronger. Every loss taught them something new, and they refused to retreat. In their desperation, the Empire deployed some of their most elite forces to Earth. These were not the mindless predators, but highly trained soldiers equipped with the latest in galactic warfare technology. The Empire's leaders believed this would be the final push, the moment when humanity would finally be brought to its knees. But even this escalation didn't go as planned. On the ground, human military forces faced these elite alien soldiers with grim determination. The soldiers were formidable, but humanity's forces had learned enough about the alien technology to hold their own. They had adapted their weapons to pierce the advanced armor the soldiers wore, and they used the terrain to their advantage, setting up ambushes and cutting off supply lines. The battles were brutal, but humanity held the line. In one such skirmish, a group of human special forces managed to capture one of the Empire's elite soldiers alive. This marked a significant turning point. For the first time, humanity had access to the inner workings of the Empire's military strategy. Interrogations and data extractions from the captured soldier provided critical information about the Empire's weaknesses. With this new intelligence, humanity's leaders began to develop a plan, not just to survive, but to strike back. Meanwhile, the morale of the Empire's troops began to falter. They had never experienced this level of resistance from a native population before. Their confidence, once unshakable, was beginning to crack. The realization that they had grossly underestimated humanity spread through the ranks of the Empire's military. What was supposed to be a swift conquest had turned into a drawn-out, grueling conflict. The Empire's leaders knew that they had to change tactics, or risk losing everything they had gained. The Galactic Empire, so used to being the dominant force, found itself on the defensive for the first time in centuries. The humans, far from being the easy prey they had imagined, were proving to be the toughest adversary they had ever faced. In the Grand Council chambers of the Empire, there was no more arrogance. There was only fear and uncertainty. For the first time in their history, they realized that they might not win this war. Earth was proving to be far more than a backwater planet, and humanity far more than a primitive species. The tide was turning, and the Galactic Empire was beginning to realize the true cost of underestimating the human race. The final confrontation was inevitable. The Empire, now fully aware of humanity's resilience, had no choice but to escalate to their last resort. They couldn't afford a prolonged war with a single planet, no matter how strategically insignificant Earth had seemed at first. The decision came swiftly, a full-scale planetary assault. This time, they would send not only their most advanced predators but also their deadliest war machines and elite soldiers. It was no longer about subjugation. The Empire had decided Earth needed to be erased, a message to any other species that might think of resisting their dominance. Across the globe, humanity braced for the onslaught. Every city, every settlement, had transformed into a fortress. Communication networks buzzed with preparations for what would undoubtedly be the most brutal battle Earth had ever faced. Civilians had become soldiers, soldiers had become leaders, and humanity, as a whole, had come together in a way no one thought possible. There was no room for fear anymore. What was left was determination, a collective understanding that survival meant more than just defeating the Empire. It meant showing the galaxy that Earth could not be broken. As the Empire's forces began their final assault, they met a world ready for them. The skies over Earth filled with alien warships, but they weren't unchallenged. Human aircraft, advanced drones, and repurposed alien technology met them in aerial combat. On the ground, the predators were once again unleashed, but this time they were met with more than just bullets and bombs. Humans had learned. They had adapted. Anti-predator units, equipped with weapons designed specifically to exploit the creature's weaknesses, took to the streets, forests, and mountains. These were soldiers trained not only to survive but to kill. Every weakness the humans had uncovered was exploited with ruthless precision. The elite soldiers of the Empire, highly trained and heavily armed, descended upon Earth in waves, but they found that humans had prepared for them too. In the dense urban landscapes, human forces used guerrilla tactics to isolate and pick off the invaders. In rural areas, natural predators and human fighters worked together in coordinated attacks. Lions, wolves, and bears had become Earth's guardians, attacking in tandem with human forces to take down both the alien predators and their soldiers. The fight was brutal, and the losses were heavy, but humanity refused to back down. In one decisive battle, a group of human engineers, working in secret underground labs, unleashed a weapon that had been developed using the very technology the Empire had brought to Earth. It was a hybrid of human ingenuity and reverse-engineered alien tech, a drone swarm capable of overwhelming the Empire's war machines in sheer numbers. These drones, small, fast, and nearly impossible to track, descended upon the alien warships like a plague. Each drone carried a payload designed to bypass the ship's defenses, targeting their power systems and rendering them inoperable. One by one, the massive ships began to fall, crashing into the oceans and cities below, devastating but not defeating humanity. On the ground, the predators continued their rampage, but humans were ready for them. Anti-predator squads moved through the cities, using heat-based weapons to exploit the creature's cold-blooded nature. Sonic disruptors, another human innovation, disoriented the alien predators, making them vulnerable to attack. Even Earth's natural predators, having learned how to fight these creatures, coordinated their efforts, leading packs of wolves to take down isolated enemies, while bears and large cats targeted the stronger, more armored invaders. But the real shift came when humanity decided to go on the offensive. They weren't going to wait for the Empire to wear them down. Instead, they took the fight directly to the Empire's forces. Human forces, now bolstered by technology recovered from the wreckage of fallen warships, began launching counterattacks. Using a combination of human and alien weaponry, they began targeting the Empire's command centers, crippling their ability to coordinate the assault. This wasn't just a defense, it was retaliation. In one of the most significant moments of the battle, a group of human soldiers managed to infiltrate an alien command ship. Armed with experimental weapons designed to bypass the ship's security systems, they fought their way through the corridors, taking out the Empire's best soldiers in close combat. At the heart of the ship, they found what they had been searching for: the Empire's control center. With quick, decisive action, they disabled the ship's communication systems, leaving the invading forces on the ground disorganized and unable to receive orders. As the battle reached its climax, the Empire's forces were beginning to falter. Their warships were falling from the sky, their soldiers were being overwhelmed, and their predators, once thought to be the perfect killing machines, were being systematically wiped out. The Galactic Empire had never encountered resistance like this. For the first time in their long history of conquest, they were facing defeat. On Earth, the mood shifted from one of desperation to grim confidence. Humanity wasn't just surviving anymore, they were winning. Cities that had been on the verge of collapse were now staging comebacks, pushing the alien invaders out of their streets and reclaiming their territory. Forests and plains, once overrun with alien predators, were now being defended by both humans and the apex predators of Earth, who had learned to fight side by side. In the end, the Galactic Empire had no choice but to retreat. Their forces were decimated, their warships grounded or destroyed, and their elite soldiers either captured or killed. What was left of their once proud invasion force limped back into space, leaving Earth behind, broken but undefeated. The retreat of the Empire marked not only the end of the invasion but the beginning of a new era for humanity. As the last of the Empire's ships disappeared into the void, humanity took a collective breath. The cost had been high, cities lay in ruins, lives had been lost, and the planet itself bore the scars of the invasion. But they had done it. They had faced the most powerful force in the galaxy, and had emerged victorious. Earth was no longer a backwater planet on the fringes of the galaxy. It was now a symbol of resistance, a testament to the strength and ingenuity of the human race. The Galactic Empire had come to conquer, but they had left humbled, defeated by a species they had once considered insignificant. For humanity, the victory was bittersweet. The world had changed, and there was no going back. But they had proven, not just to the Empire but to themselves, that they were far more than anyone had ever imagined. Earth had unleashed its apex predators, both animal and human, and the galaxy would never forget it.